Close your eyes. And all we're going to do is go on a journey, very briefly, of things you're grateful about, but first, physically feel your heart. Breathe deep in your heart. Feel the power of your heart. Feel the strength of your heart. Feel grateful for your heart and what it's guided you to do in this life, to give and to be. Think about, you didn't have to buy this heart, you didn't have to earn it. Something thought enough of you to give you this gift of life without doing anything, instantly when you're born. As long as it beats, you're alive. Right now, step into a moment in your life that you can feel deep feelings of gratitude for. Any moment at all, from your childhood or as an adult, a moment you can feel deep feelings of gratitude for. Breathe in your heart, step in that moment and see what you saw then, hear what you heard then, feel what you felt then, right now. Feel so grateful, feel that moment was sacred, that it was blessed, that you were blessed. Take it in. Don't just think it, see, feel, be there. Now reach out and bring in another memory that you could be grateful for at any moment at all. Just bring it into your heart. On top of the one that's already there, bring it in. And step in and feel the power and the grace of that moment. And then bring a third moment in. Coincidence. We all love coincidences because we did nothing for it. Something just happened. You met somebody. You went somewhere. And it led to something magnificent in your life, something you're so grateful for. A person, a relationship, an insight, a life change. Step into gratitude at that moment and feel it as well. Take your hand off your heart and just continue to breathe and go on a journey for these last 2 minutes of moments in your life you're grateful for, feeling each one in your body like you're there. Quickly, we're going to do moments rapidly. Just reach out and grab a moment in your life you're proud about. Bring in a moment you're proud. Someone you're proud of, your children, yourself. Bring that into your heart. A moment of pride, feeling proud. Breathe the way you do when you feel proud. Along with the gratitude. Think of something you've accomplished in your life, small or big, that you feel proud about, and bring that in. Think of a romantic or a sensual or sexy moment and bring that in too. Bring it into your heart on top of the things you're grateful for, on top of the things you're proud about. A sexy moment, a sensual moment, a romantic moment. Bring in a moment that made you laugh out loud. Did you ever laugh so hard that milk came out your nose or something like that? Get one of those moments, bring it in your heart when you felt this incredible laughter over something so silly. Bring in a special moment with family or friends, a moment that's magical for you. Bring that into your heart as well and stack it on top of all the others. Bring in a moment now that was pure excitement. Make the sound that you do when you're excited and bring that into your body. Make that sound of excitement out loud. For 10 seconds, just reach out and bring in moments from the future, like getting an advanced view of what's coming. Moments of love, moments of excitement, moments of romance, moments of accomplishment. Bring them in fast. Bring your hand in 10 times. Real quick, bring them in. And at the end, just shout the word yes. Yes! Yes! And then open your eyes. How many remember things you've not thought about for a long time?
That was great. That, my friends, is called passion and purpose. Did everybody here have their heart beating? Did you feel your heart beating? This is what happens to us beach body coaches every single day. So we're going to start a little backwards because Darlene was supposed to be here and she's a little delayed. But we have some really good stuff happening tonight. And what was supposed to be last, and probably one of the best, is going to start at the beginning.
How you guys doing? Hello. This thing on? Somebody told me not to read from a book, but I'm going to read anyway.
No.
Because I need my
We
notes.
don't know the owl that reads from a book. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Al that reads and doesn't read. So, I'm going to tell you guys my story. As much of it as I can share. I used to be really, really lazy. Like, I just hated work. I just didn't like doing it. Serious, like, I didn't like doing it. And I used to be shy, really shy to the point, and she's like, I'm like, it's true. To the point where all throughout high school and all throughout college, I didn't have any friends. I didn't go out to parties, I didn't hang out, I didn't do any of that stuff. Is that better?
Yes.
So I didn't do any of that stuff. And I even had, believe it or not, I was like shy when it came to talking to girls, because I didn't know what to say. So she's like, bullshit. I'm like, it's true. So all that stuff, I was also soft-spoken, so I didn't have any projection in my voice, which is why I needed a mic. And I struggled with confidence and body images. I used to think that my Adam's apple was too big. Of all things, like, who thinks that, right? But I thought that. But it was real to me, right? And it didn't help that I was a scrawny little kid, so I felt like, oh, I stuck out a lot. So that's what I had to do, that's what I dealt with. And I'm gonna say that. I even went to bed. I think we all went to bed, but I was a kid. I wasn't 20 years old when I all went to bed, right? But you know, it happens. So despite all that stuff, 15 years ago, I made a decision to change my life. So what I did was I read a book called The Secret. Many of you have heard it, by Ron Byrne. And basically the book talks about how to think positively and use the power of the law of attraction. And basically, if you think positive things, positive things will happen and manifest themselves into your life. So that's what I did. I did it everywhere I could think of, in the shower, on my way to work, on the bus, on the train. I just thought positive thoughts. And I said, I'm sexy, I'm funny, I'm confident, people like me, I'm a great speaker, I don't feel awkward in awkward situations. I had all these things. But the thing about it was that I knew they were all lies. I was lying to myself because I didn't believe in any one of them. And eventually I started to believe myself. But it took time. And so I thought to myself, well, why don't I really believe myself, right? I tried to fake it till I made it. And I thought, and I came up with the fact that I wasn't confident. I didn't have confidence. I didn't think I was smart enough. And I didn't think that because I dropped out of college twice. And I still had over $50,000 of student loan debt to pay and credit card debt. I stayed at a job, which I'm still at now, that I absolutely hated. My boss was a jerk, he was an asshole. Basically, he was racist, he was prejudiced, and he made it really uncomfortable to go to work every day. But I didn't have the balls to stand up for myself. I didn't educate myself enough to kind of go with punches and kind of have a quick comeback for the stuff that he said. Because I was afraid of losing my job. Who would want to hire a two-time college dropout, right? So I kind of just lay low. That's what I was taught to do. Don't make any waves, just hang low, don't draw any attention to yourself. And that's what I did. But I was getting paid shit, right? Didn't have enough money to pay all my bills. Didn't have enough money to support my mom the way I wanted to, the way she deserved to be supported. And so basically, I felt like a failure. So I started to feel like I was actually living the life that I imagined. And I'm like, this feels miraculous, like it worked. Well, actually miraculous may not be the right word, more like obvious. Because if I had a dream and I had positive thoughts and I had this image of what my life was supposed to be like, and I kept it in my mind all the time, and I focused on it, and I thought about it, and I worked hard to get that life, well then of course I was going to live that life. But I had to actually put in the work. Just thinking positive isn't going to just poof and magically all your problems are gone. It doesn't work that way.
Really?
You know, I tried hard. And honestly, I fought, and for years, what happened was that I drifted for years without purpose, without meaning, without vision. And the worst part was that I didn't even know I was doing that. I had no idea. I was just waking up without any goals. And I was just like living from one day to the next without knowing that I had this power inside of me to help and to motivate and to inspire other people. But I started to find that if I worked towards my goals, I could actually manifest the life that I wanted. And so that's what I did. And what made me do the work, for me, it was belief. It was belief in myself and belief in other people. And it's because someone once believed in me that, way before I even believed in myself, that I've taken that with me and I carry that all these years. And so now I kind of know what both sides of the coin look like. So I know what it's like to have no belief in yourself. And I know what it's like to finally dig deep enough to see what that other person saw. And so when I say to you, I know you can do it, it's because I know what to look for. And if I see it in you, believe me when I tell you that you can do it, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to not believe in yourself, and I know what it's like to have it in you. So that's what motivates me. That's what motivates me to help others fulfill their potential, fulfill their life passions, and live their dreams. Because that's what we're all here for. If it's not to find your dreams and your gifts and your passions and what you're good at, and then to share that with the world, then what the hell are we here, right? And if you're going to change the world, even if it's one person at a time, why not start with you? Why not start with yourself? Because you're worth it. You really are worth it. You know, so out of 1.2 billion sperm, right? You fought tooth and nail. You fought against all your brothers and sisters. You all had one goal. You had one thing to do. One thing was on your mind, and all you needed to do was to get to that goal. You all had the same vision, the same destiny, the same end point, was to find your mother's egg. And out of those 1.2 billion, you were the one who found it. You fought harder than anyone else, and you made it, right? But don't tell me that you're not. Don't tell me you're not a fighter, because you are. Don't tell me you're not worth it, because you're special. You are uniquely you, and you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. So when I say, hey, we need to start changing the world one person at a time, start with yourself. Because if you don't change yourself and you're not coming from the best possible place, how do you expect to help someone else change their life, right? So remember that it starts with you. It all starts with you because you're absolutely worth it. So now how did I get to where I was then to where I am now, specifically in my business? So it was a bunch of different things. One of the things that I did was that I gave. And I gave all of myself as much as I could to as many people as I could, as often as I could, without asking for anything in return. That's what I did. And I also gave consistently. It's one of the things that I think is overlooked in what we do as coaches is we give, but we don't give consistently. And it's a really overlooked thing. We need to focus on giving as much as we can. And when you think about, give me 1 second. When you think about how much you should be giving, the minute you start feeling like you may be giving too much or investing too much time or whatever it is, meal plans, or if it's a workout, or if it's attention, support, whatever you're giving, when you start to feel like that's a little bit too much, that's when you're on the right track. When you feel like you're oversharing and overgiving, stay on that road, because that's what produces and gives and creates value to that other person. And that's what you want to give. And that's what I did. And what that does is it creates this bond, a relationship, and it creates this value that you cannot duplicate or replicate through any other way. There's no other way you can do it other than through time, being consistent. You know, some of the other things that I did was that I check my notes. I showed up to events. I showed up to meetings, trainings. I showed up to my own inviting, Super Saturdays, Coach Summit. But I showed up when I didn't want to show up, because I knew it was important to me. You guys are important to me, and that's why I'm here. I work overnight, and I've been awake since 9 p.m. yesterday. Spent the entire day today running errands, and now I'm here. Because you guys are important to me. My business is important to me, and I showed up whether I wanted to or not. The other thing that I did was that I didn't give up, because it's inevitable that we're going to get told no. It happens to everybody. I've been told no more often than I can think. But what I did was I was relentless, and I found a way to get a yes. I either provided more value, I asked more questions, I invited more people, or I had a good one. Did a lot of shit. I did a lot of shit. I just found a way. And that's what you have to be, relentless, because when people say no and they want to give up, you cannot give up on them. When people quit and quit on you, you can't quit on them. It's going to happen. You're gonna get told no. You're going to want to quit. Don't quit. You're going to lose rank. You're going to want to quit. Don't quit. It's happened to me. And what did I do? I didn't cry. I didn't complain. I found a way to make sure it didn't happen again. That's what I did. Sorry. Right? So that's what I did. I refused to give up. And that's what's important. You guys can't give up. Some of the other things that I did, I have like 2 more points. That I stayed consistent with myself during my hidden hours. So when no one else was looking, I did my workout. I ate what I was supposed to eat. I invited the people I was supposed to invite, and I showed up to my business. Because eventually, all those hidden hours that you don't think anyone's watching, your results will rise up to the top, and people will know what you were doing, whether they saw you doing it or not. They'll know because of what you do during your hidden hours. And what that did for me was that it transformed me. It made me into the kind of person that someone who needed advice and help and wanted support was going to look to, because I became that person. The example I always give is, if I invited everyone here tomorrow morning to Bible study in my house, 2 things would happen. 1, you laughed at me. And then 2, you walk the other way, because I don't do Bible study. I don't know the first thing about Bible study. I really don't. But if I say, hey, we're going to work out tomorrow morning, first thing is you crying. Because you know I'm going to kick your ass. And you're going to show up, because you know me for that. You know that I will give you the best workout of your life. That's what I'm known for, because I'm consistent. I talk about it, I post about it, I share about it. I do everything that has to do with working out. That's how you know me. And that's why you're going to come to me when it comes to that. You need help, you need support, find Al, because he knows workouts, he knows fitness, he knows nutrition. He doesn't know anything about Bible study, so forget about that, right? And that's what I do during my hidden hours, is I commit myself to making sure that I'm that person you're looking for when you need that help. Right? And the last thing is confidence. You have that. Confidence is key. And lack of confidence will absolutely kill you. You have to believe that you're a freaking badass, because you really, really are. At a 1.2 billion, you're here. You're a fighter, you're a badass. Believe that. Have the confidence, and don't back down from that. Don't be shy about it. Share that with the world, because nothing separates you from me or anyone else, other than the absolute, relentless desire to be better, to improve, to fail forward, and to act and take advantage of all the knowledge you have and do something with it. That's what it is. Thank you, guys.
Finding your passion and your why. And the reason why we put this slide is because, put your hands up if you're here for a reason tonight. You're all here for a reason tonight, right? And can you all tell me why that reason is? Now, you're here because you have dreams and goals that you want to accomplish, and dreams and goals that you want to do for your family, or you want to buy a nice house, or you want to live by the beach, or even have a nice yacht. You have dreams, which in reality, those dreams drive your passion. Now, if you don't understand what your why is, we're going to explain it to you tonight. Now, who has a why that pisses you off? What pisses you off, right? What is it?
I think, because there's kids around,
It's okay.
I hate my job.
You hate your job, right?
I hate my job.
You hate your job. I have that why too.
Seriously hate it.
How many of you have that why? How many of you in here hate your job and you hate waking up on a Monday morning to go and talk to your boss? I do. I know I do. Especially when my kids are sick, I want to say Yes, you have a boss too, that's your teacher. So basically, your why is what moves you, is what drives you. So the days you're feeling down in the slump, your drive is what's gonna get you through. Your why is what's gonna make you cry and say, hell no. I am going to get up at whatever time in the morning or go to bed at whatever time in the night to make this happen. Now, my why pisses me off, because after working 15 years in corporate America, and I thought I had a nice job and no one could touch me, I was laid off last year. Now, I carried my entire mortgage. Basically, I carry my family. I'm the breadwinner in my house. So imagine getting laid off and then having to deal with bills and worry that I didn't know how I was gonna make the next payment. So what was my why? The nice person right here that's saying that he has a teacher as a boss. That was my why. So I used to go to bed at 1 a.m. making sure that I invited. I wanted to make sure that I had enough money to cover the expenses for the next month, because I didn't know where I was gonna land. So basically what we have, and I'm gonna be quiet because there's a lot, this exercise is long. We have an exercise because we want you to think of what is your why. What's your passion? What's gonna drive you when you are down in the slump and you're getting 50 no's in one day after you invited 50 people, and all of a sudden you got no. No thank you. Oh no, I'm not interested. Oh no, I don't like that challenge pack. Oh my God, that's too expensive. So what's gonna drive you to get you out of that slump, to keep you going to get to your yes? And what's gonna drive you is your passion and your why. So we're gonna do a little exercise. Melissa, Cindy, can you help me? Sure. Basically what we're gonna do is that we're gonna pass out frames and markers, and I want you all to take these frames and markers and you're gonna write down your why, okay? And write it down because you're gonna share them. Guys, remember, when you're writing down your why, it has to tie into your emotion, because that's what's gonna drive you and define you. So think of what pisses you off, what's important to you, and what's tied to your emotions, okay? Go!
Okay, so I normally don't like sitting in front of people and talking about what the hell. It's Friday. So like I mentioned before, I really...
What's your name?
Oh, I'm Chiro. Or Chai for short, like the T. Thanks, Melissa. So like I said before, I really hate my job. And it's not because I like what I do, I just really don't like the people I work with or the location. So I wrote here.
Can everyone hear her?
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Dominican, everybody's supposed to hear me. So I wrote, be my own boss, because who wouldn't want to be their own boss? Financial freedom, because I just finished my master's, and I just looked at my student loan money total, and I almost fainted. I put time off in summer because when I got laid off in the beginning of summer. And let me tell you, having the summer off is like the best thing in the whole world. Like you go to beaches, you go to picnics, you go to Home Depot with your mom or Home Goods, whatever. You get to decorate your own house. I love this, it's great. Pay my own debt, like I mentioned before, those student loans. Seriously, I just fainted. And travel, like I'm always on Google or Pinterest and just, I have like a little travel section and I'm always putting pictures up of different places I want to go and see. So that's my whys. Who else wants to share their why?
Yolanda. Come right up.
Hey, hi everyone, Yolanda here. And I have my whys. I didn't put it on the frame yet because I'm gonna do that after. So I wrote like a little paragraph, a little small, on my whys, and basically it comes down to, it sums up to finances. So finances have everything to do from, of course, like, you know, Chai said, you know, travel, your job, the job I do. I'm also a police officer, so we work a lot of hours. You know, we work 12 hours, sometimes 16-hour shifts. We have to work on holidays. We don't get weekends off like everyone else does. We don't work the 9-to-5 job. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, my kids growing up, when I first started my job, I had to put a lot of hours in, and they were so young. They were like only 5, 6, 7 years old, and I barely spent any time with them. Holidays, Christmas, they're opening up their gifts, and I'm at work. So it's really hard. So, you know, that's one of the main goals I have, is just trying to not to go to work and get up in the morning and have to deal with all the nonsense out there. So finances, not being able to pay for the things my children want, telling how to tell them no, having to turn things down because I can't afford it, living check to check, waiting for the next check to come, hoping to have money enough to stretch until that time comes. Not being able to travel the world, just like I said too, I haven't really traveled at all. And I, you know, my 30s already, and I really want to get out there and look at, you know, travel the world and stuff. Being in debt, you know, any kind of bills that I want to pay off, and basically summing all this stuff up that I went through and not wanting this for my kids. I don't want them to have a, you know, the same why I have. I want them to have a different why. So I don't want finances to be that, you know, the same thing for them. So that's really it.
Anyone else who wants to share?
Oh God, I hate sharing. I'm Anna, and I wrote basically paragraphs and bullet points and a whole bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, got me surprised. But just starting it off, I'm really just going to read off of this. There's no loyalty in corporate America, so I was recently laid off as well. Restructuring, terminated, etc. And yes, that's and I was at my job for 5 years. Didn't end up liking who I was working with and for them basically. So I was laid off. They suck. I want to get out of debt, and I want to be able to ideally live in abundance, so be able to drop any amount of money on either a vacation or a bag that I want without having to think twice about it, or 3 times, and wondering where that money's going to come from next month. I want my boyfriend Rick to stop working security to help us, you know, pay for the stuff at the house, and not being able to finish his undergraduate degree. I want to retire my mom because she shouldn't have to be working as a housekeeper and working so hard as she does to make a living. She has arthritis, and I don't want her I want her to be the artist that she's really meant to be. She likes designing clothes, so I think she should be able to do that.
It's 8 o'clock.
I really think that there has to be more to life than just living paycheck to paycheck, living for that 9 to 5. And I also don't want to feel like I've already peaked. I mean, up to now, I've already been the first one to go to college. I went to an Ivy League school. I got a great corporate job. Granted, it didn't end up so great, but I've done a lot already, and I feel good about it, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot. But I just know there has to be more to life. There has to be something else. I don't want to feel like I've already peaked. And I think this might be some sort of a second chance for me. So I just want to get it right, and that really makes me scared and pissed off that I just want to get it as right as I possibly can. And I know I'll make mistakes, but I just want to get there.
So, can you guys tell me, does that have passion and emotion for you?
Yeah.
When you're feeling down in the slump, is that gonna motivate you to move? When you get the no's, is that gonna motivate you to move?
Oh yeah.
When you are about to put your hands up in the air and say, I quit, is that gonna motivate you to move?
Yes.
Hold on to those frames, take it home with you, put it somewhere where you can see it, because the days that you're feeling down in the slump, that's what you're gonna look at. Put a picture of your family. Put a picture of your family.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be you like this. We can send you that would push me.
So now let's get to the how. How do you make this happen? So I love following those top coaches that tell you the what, but then also tell you the how. So I follow Anita Myron because she literally gives you everything in her YouTube channel. So basically, it's not that difficult. Really, it is all about consistency, and that's the reason why you see it up there in capital letters. How many of you were in the Team Cup in February? Raise your hand. How many of you hit Success Club 10 or above? Raise your hand. Why? Because you were consistent, you were in a competition, you were in a challenge. So you pushed harder than any other day or any other month because you were being watched. Or there was a gift or a really awesome iPad or weights that you really wanted. So you pushed, didn't you? So let me ask you this question. Why don't you do that 11 months thereafter? Why not? Because it's about consistency. You guys, when there's a team cup, we all push hard. We all go to bed late, inviting. We all like start asking our mom, so who do you know? So who's that? So can I sell them a challenge bag? You start asking friends. You start asking everyone and their mother, who do they know and who they can refer. So why can't you do that the 11 months of the year? That's only 1 month that we have Team Cup. So do it for the rest of the month. So how do you do that? Who here knows about the BAT, the Business Activity Tracker? I could tell you that the BAT has everything you need. Hold on, baby. It has everything you need from A to Z to get you to your end goal, to get you to Success Club 10 and above. Everything you need. It has from inviting. It has from making sure you go on social media and, posting 3 times a day. It has everything. Now, if you're like me, I hate the BAT. I don't want to walk in the middle of the street with a little piece of paper checking off. I love checking lists. So I found a way, and that's what you guys have to do. If you know that you can work with what you have or what Beachbody has provided for you, find a way. So what I did was that I found an app, an amazing app called Asana, and basically I took everything that was on the app and I put it on this tool, because I could just go in there and check right away. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you guys treat this business as is a hobby? Right? Okay, so how many of you go to your job Monday through Friday and you're there on time? You go based on a to-do list and you start making sure that all your tasks are completed, because who's on top of you? Your boss, right? Ephraim, for Beachbody, who's your boss? Yes, exactly. You are your own boss. We are our own boss. If that, if that doesn't drive you, I know, right? If that doesn't drive you, your own, find a way. Do you want to know how I find a way? My boss is Audrey. So when Audrey calls me and she goes like, girl, take down that post, that call to action because it sucks. I'm like, okay, I'll take it down. If she tells me show up to an event, okay, I'll show up. If she tells me you have to go to Summit, okay, I go to Summit. Audrey is my boss. And that's how I see it. You know why I see it that way? Because that's driving me. But that's what I know I need in order to push my business forward. That's what I need. Because I need to be held accountable. I need someone to push me. And she knows this because we've spoken. So if you can drive your own self, because it's your organization, it's your business, then speak to your upline and just tell them, be my boss, push me. But that comes with one caveat, you guys. The moment that you say that, you have to let go and be teachable. Because the moment you say that, the moment that your upline tells you show up to this event and you don't show up to this event, or show up to this call and you don't show up to this call, is the moment that they're gonna be like, okay, you don't want this as bad enough as I thought you did. So that's your boss. How many of you here operate out of fear? Raise your hand. We're all afraid. I'm afraid. Every time it hits the first of the month, I'm scared. And I'll tell you why I'm scared. Because I'm scared that I'm gonna fail. That's why I'm scared. But you know what? Failure gets us that much closer to our goal. So if you're afraid, hold on, baby. You're gonna be hitting yourself in the chest and be like, damn, I should have followed. I should have followed that person. When they invited me to be a coach, I would have been a millionaire right now. And the question is not, like, if we get there. That's not the question, you guys. The question is when we get there, because we will get there. The only difference between us and those top coaches is when we get there. Not if, it's when we get there, because we will. I know I will. It may take me a year, it may take me 2 years, it may take me even 5 years. I don't care, but I will get there. And as long as you have that mentality, I swear to you that you will get there as well. Just don't give up, okay? And to close that, we have this.
But for the next contestant,
it's Paul, a mobile phone salesman from South Wales.
By day, I sell mobile phones. My dream is to spend my life doing what I feel that I was born to do.
Paul, what are you here for today, Paul?
To sing opera. I've always wanted to sing as a career. Confidence has always been sort of a difficult thing for me. I've always found it a little bit difficult to be completely confident in myself.
Okay, ready when you are.
So you work at Car Phone Warehouse, and
And you did that. I wasn't expecting that. This was a complete breath of fresh air. I thought you were absolutely fantastic.
You have an incredible voice. I think if you keep singing like that, you are going to be one of the favourites to win this whole competition.
I think that we've got a case of a little lump of coal here that is going to turn into a diamond.
Okay. Moment of truth, young man. Here's.
Absolutely yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Paul? You are through to the next round.
Do you think that he allowed fear to stop him? No. Are you guys gonna let fear stop you? No. I can hear it. No. I want you to get off your butts and make it happen. You guys don't let fear stop you. And with that said, I turn it to Melissa.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Martinez. I am a Star Diamond coach. I joined Beachbody about 3 years ago after following my upline, Saudi Almonte, stalking her Facebook, seeing her progress, thinking that she was full of you know what, and that she got some gastric bypass and she was faking the funk, but she wasn't.
Everybody thinks I got gastric bypass.
That's a good thing. That's awesome. I would follow her posts and 40 pounds less, 60 pounds less, 70 pounds less, and I'd be like, okay, that's it. There's no way, because she used to share. She used to share her shakes, she used to share her routine. So usually when you do gastric bypass, you don't share all of this, right? So I believed in her, and I joined her team. I joined as a challenger because I didn't want to be a coach. Like, really? This is not for me. I don't have time to help people. I don't have time for people to be calling me or texting me. You know how many cousins I have? You know how many family members I have? And how many times they call me for anything and everything? And I have cousins here. They'll tell you. Every family event, I get called. Every trip, every vacation, I get called. So this wasn't for me. I have another cousin there. So when Saudi presented the opportunity to me, I said no. And it wasn't until Dalisa, and you guys, most of you know Dalisa. Dalisa came down to New York to a fit club and called me straight after and was like, dude, you really have to do this. What do we have to do? We have to do this business. These people are making so much money. They're helping people change lives, blah, blah, blah. Well, Dalisa and I have the relationship that if she says jump, I'll ask how high. So I said, okay, my little cousin's gonna do this. I'm gonna join her because I'm not gonna let her down. But little did I know that because of that yes, this all happened. I would have never in a million years imagined. To me, it was like, all right, I'm gonna join. And when she's ready to stop, I'm gonna stop too. But that's not what happened. If anybody here knows Dalisa, Dalisa does not quit. Dalisa's never gonna stop. And thanks to her not stopping, she was able to retire her husband, herself, and is now a stay-at-home mom, a full-time Beachbody coach, and gets to play Monopoly with her kids at 4 in the afternoon on a Friday. Jealous, yes I am. I didn't mention really who I am. I have 2 children. I have a almost 23-year-old son, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who's about to be 20. She's probably older than him, seriously. And I love them so much. I mean, I won't tell you how much because I won't cry. I was a mother at the age of 17, and what I do for my daughter now, I find a lot that I couldn't do for my son. And it's more because of the attitude that I just don't care. Because I have Beachbody, I don't care. You know what? I'm not supposed to be in this room, but I don't care. Fire me, why don't you? Like, if this is what it's gonna take, fire me. This is not the person that I was. Like Al mentioned before, I was as much family and friends and everything that I have. My best friend sitting here, she'll tell you. I've always been a social butterfly, when I'm drinking, when I'm having fun, but not this person that'll have conversations with really everybody. I used to hide a lot. I used to not want to be part of the cool people or the in crowd because
how cool can I be? Or, you know, dance in the middle of people, are you crazy? Like, don't put me on the spot like that. Definitely not me. So I learned a lot through Beachbody, and I learned a lot because of the personal development. I learned a lot because I saw so many people who were in my organization change their lives, and I felt like, I can't let these people down. Like, oh my God, look at Cindy, look at Audrey, look at Melissa, look at Al, look at all these people changing. How am I gonna stop now? How am I gonna stop? How am I gonna stop giving all that I can now? So, what I'm here to talk about is time, okay? We all have the same 24 hours in one day. And guess what? Waking up at 5 in the morning sucks. It sucks big time. But I have dreams. And I want to look good in a bikini at the age of 40. And before I leave my house, I want to make my daughter breakfast, not no street walk McDonald's breakfast. I want her to have real breakfast, the one that I couldn't make for my son, because I was too young and stupid and didn't have the time. I want to make my husband coffee. You know, I want to be able to do all this stuff before I leave my house. So I wake up at 5 in the morning and I want to put that workout in and respond to whoever I haven't responded to. And then, you know, the nastiness starts, and well, not nasty at this point. I drive my daughter to school. We have a good hour before I drive her. I get here, and then 9 to 5 in this place all day, dealing with people's complaints. And where's Al? Al can tell you he works with me. He actually teaches insanity in our gym. And what I do in this building basically is I manage the conference center, the cafeteria, and the fitness center. All day long I deal with people complaining about the letters being yellow. The gym Al was 1 minute too long. Stupidest things, I swear. And I have to sit there and smile. Okay, I'll talk to him. Okay, I'll tell him to change the letters. Like, stupidest shit. This is not purpose. This is so not purpose. What I do here is not what I was meant to do. This is not what my mother raised me for. And now let's talk about my mother. So my mother, and now I'll cry. My mother and her sister had a factory at a very, very young age. Okay, I'll be fine. Busted their behinds working, built homes in DR, had to send us to DR, actually. My cousins and myself and my siblings had to go to DR so they could finish doing what they needed to do here, because they couldn't take care of us. Okay. So, they were trying to build a dream for us. They were trying to build for us something that they couldn't give us because they were so busy leaving our houses at 5 in the morning and getting home every day at 7, 8 o'clock. My mother never knew what it was to sit there and teach me how to do, you know, divisions and all that good stuff. I always had a nanny. Yeah, I had somebody to take care of me, but was it the same? No, it's not the same. It's not you. So I promised myself that my children wouldn't have that. And guess what? My son had to have it for a while until I grew up. And thanks to him, I did. But my daughter doesn't have to. She doesn't have to live this life because mommy didn't. You know what? I'll tell you guys right now, at the age of 16, I dropped out of high school. My high school was my son. Who was going to take care of my son? I didn't go to college. Actually, I attempted to. But then I realized that I have ADD and I can't sit in a class and listen to people talk for too long. So I quit. And everything I've done in my life, I quit. I'm not quitting this. Why? Because I have all of you guys. Because my daughter is my biggest supporter. Because every single day when I work out, when I wake up, the first thing that comes out of her mouth is, did you wake up and work out today? Mommy, what did you do? Like, she even knows the routine. Okay? So I don't want them to have that life that we live because my mother didn't have anything better. And then guess what happened? The Chinese people took over. And my mother and my aunt were forced to close their business because when they were making a pair of pants at $1, Chinese people were making it at 5 cents. So how long do you guys think that really lasted? It didn't. 1 whole year, and they went totally bankrupt, lost what they had in Dominican Republic, lost what they had in New York, and they started from scratch all over again. They've never been the same. I can tell you right now, and my mother would probably hate me for this, but my mother can't say she has $1,000 saved in the bank. Why? Because she didn't plan ahead. Because if something like this would have been, I know my mother's passion and I know her drive and I know what she did when she was younger, and if something like this existed back then, she probably would have jumped on it. but it didn't. But it wasn't introduced to her. It's not that it didn't, because Amway existed. And
Amway, I was gonna say.
yeah, but she wasn't introduced to any of that. She probably would have. I can tell you that she probably would have. But you know what? Now she has me. And when I can tell you right now, my goal was to retire her first, but I can't because I have to get out of this place because if not, I'm going to go to jail. And then nobody's going to be able to support my mother. So I have to get out of here. And when I get out of here, you didn't hear me. I was going to tell somebody, did you? And then I'll retire her. She has to come home to take care of, to help me, to help my sister and her new babies, and all that good stuff. Let me see what I'm missing here. Okay. There are 3 words that in almost every single package that Beachbody, in every website, in every email, in every package that they send to your home are written. Decide, commit, succeed. When you guys make that decision to commit to this business, and you really, really commit, and you put the hours of work in, it's an equation. You're gonna succeed. But you can't sit here and say, oh, it doesn't work for me. I emailed 3 people this week and they said no. Guess what, darling? It's not going to happen that way because it doesn't. Do you guys think that we don't hear no's? We have competitions of how many no's did you get today. Because the more no's you get, there's going to be a yes somewhere. And if you're consistent in what you post, if you're consistent in your workout, in your drinking your shake and doing what you have to do, people are going to believe in you and they're going to follow you like I did with Saudi and like many of my challengers do with me. They'll hit me up a year later and say, oh my God, I've been watching you for a whole entire year. You're so motivational. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. And they'll join. And even the people that say no, I put them on a 6-month list. My no's come back in 6 months, I promise. Because they believe and they see. When I'm tired, I know I have a job to do. I have a why that wakes me up and doesn't let me sleep. And my why is being there for my family. And my why is being able to give my family everything that they don't have. Because I'll tell you one thing, guys, like I mentioned before, I have a very cushy job, great pay, but guess what? Somebody here dictates my time. Somebody here tells me what time I need to be here, what time I need to walk out. Oh, and then when I have these bougie, I don't even know what to call them, that rent this conference room, and they think I'm their maid, that's when it really gets good, okay? Because that's when I want to be like, I don't need this. Sorry, but it's the truth. It's what I go through. This is my job. I have to walk away and keep reminding myself. But I want you guys to all ask yourself a question today. A question that I asked myself in the beginning. I used to look at Saudi and say, why her and why not me? Like, seriously? What makes her better than me? Why? She has this, we come from the same neighborhood. We have the same background. We dated the same guy. Like, seriously, why? What makes her better than me? Guys, you have to ask yourself that question, why not me? I understand, I fully understand this business is not for everybody. You have to have tough skin, you have to have a will, and you have to want this. But every single one of you here, looks like everybody has pens. Put one leg on at a time, right? Guess what? The top coaches, those top 10, so do they. And how do you guys think they got here? Working. They didn't sit down and say, hey, let it come to me. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. So, Jeff Hill, who's the Executive Vice President of Global Sales, says that Beachbody has 2 start dates. The day that you join as a Beachbody coach and the day that you start working your business. Do you guys all have a start date, your second start date? Every start date? Okay. It took me 7 months to start a second time. You?
She said today, and I'm like, hell yeah.
I thought you couldn't have that. Okay, and I'm going to read something to you guys, and then I will pass the word to Cindy, who has great stuff to say. But just remember, guys, nothing separates us except our will to do this. So this was something that was mentioned when we went to see Danny Johnson, and I absolutely loved it. And I loved looking around and watching everybody's mouth drop like they had no idea that a day had 24 hours. But she said how each of us have 168 hours in a week. If we spend 8 hours a day sleeping, and that's generous, 10 hours a day commuting and working, 2 hours a day eating. I don't know about you guys, but I never sit down for 2 hours to eat. I do eat, but not for 2 hours. That leaves us 48 hours a week for our discretionary activity. Okay, let's say that 4 hours of those days, of those 48 hours, you spend time with your family and you do family activity, right? We all do. Now you have 20 hours left. 5 hours per week for hanging out with friends. My best friend's right there. She can tell you how many hours a week I hang out with her. I don't. I just don't. Not because I don't love her, but because I need to make this happen. Now you have 15 hours left. You can still watch TV. You can read and do other things if you like. How about one of those hours a day you work your business and you still have 8 hours left? So what I'm going to say to you guys today is, I'm not going to finish because basically you know where I'm getting at. 1 hour, if you guys decide 1 hour of your day and dedicate it and plan your, I take my Sunday mornings when my husband's playing ball and I sit down and I plan my calendar. So, like I mentioned, I wake up, I work out, I take a pre-workout, and it's not yummy, guys, I'm sorry to disappoint, I do not like the taste. I take my pre-workout, I work out, I sit down and I answer emails. So the emails I answer at that time are to challengers. I do not, my coaches will tell you they're here. If they ask me any questions, it doesn't get answered at that time because that's the time that I selected for challengers. I don't sit on Facebook and BS. I don't go through everybody's, people will ask me, did you see? I'm really sorry, I didn't see, because I do have an hour for that. I do have it scheduled, that when I'm here and he's being a pain in my ass, I'll scroll. And even then, I don't really like to do it because I feel like I'm taking time away from my business, because this is my business. And in the middle of the day, my lunch hour, and this wasn't like this, because my lunch hour I used to sit and gossip and talk with the guys and the girls and have fun and do all the good stuff that everybody else does in this building. But now my lunch hour, I sit down and I come in here, there's nobody in here, and I hate when I rent the room because I can't sit here for an hour, and I work my business. I go in my back office. To all of you guys, are you guys all familiar with your back office? How to use it, what it's good for? Because it took me a very long time to figure it out. But that's basically, put it this way, if you guys have a storefront, okay, and you were selling microphones, wouldn't you want to go in there every single day and find out how many microphones sold? And if you knew that your microphone company had stocks, wouldn't you want to go in there and find out how high or how low the stocks were? The first thing, I swear, while my energy drink is kicking in, that's the first thing I'm doing. And I'm excited, and a lot of you guys will even say, how do you know that I have a new coach? Because I pay attention to my business. I go in there, and if it says 18 new coaches today, I have a time schedule to congratulate people because it really makes me happy when people are helping others. So guys, this was a gift basically given to me. I feel in debt to Larissa like you guys will not believe for bringing me and making me work this business. I don't know who brought you guys here. I don't know how you got here, but somebody loved you enough to invite you over here to be part of this amazing team. Because guys, what we have here, it's amazing. This is like, I told my boss before he walked out, he said, are you leaving? I said, no, I'm meeting with friends. And when he walked away, I was like, huh, I really am meeting with friends. Like, I really believed it in my heart that I was meeting with friends. So guys, thank you so much for your time today. And I'm gonna leave this with you.
Can you guys hear me, or do I have to use the microphone? Are you good? We hear you. Okay. First of all, thanks for all of that, Melissa. Like, how am I going to follow up after that? Like, you're a stay-at-home mom, so you have a lot to say. This is true. I'm going to say I was sitting there, and I'm, like, shaking right now because I think I haven't really been able to, like, pinpoint my why or, like, my whole, I don't know. And I feel like it just kind of, like, went in my brain, and I'm, like, I was having a sapphire moment where I'm like, oh shit, I can't forget this right now. Like, I can't forget. Where am I going to put this? And then I'm like, and I'm repeating it in my head, listening to it, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm going to share it with you guys, and as I'm shaking right now. But it might not be like, whoa. It's not like, whoa, but it's starting to make sense to me right now. My whole life, I was a goody two-shoes. Like, I always tried to walk a straight path, like, like, so that my parents would never have any, like, complaints about me, know, like I was a good kid. I don't know why I'm crying. I cry for everything, but I don't know why I'm crying so fast. So I was always, you know, walking a straight line, getting good grades in school, and not even really having to try. Like, literally, like I'm not trying. I don't even know. It would just happen. Yes. And then, you know, I graduated high school, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to St. John's to study pre-med. Because I honestly loved, like, well, I loved dentistry and I loved medicine, and I was like, I want to be a doctor. And that would make my parents really super proud. Okay, so I go to St. John's and I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is not what, this isn't me. Like, it clicked. My whole life I was like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a dentist, like something. And once it, like, reality hit, I was like, this is not me. So I think for the first time in my life, I was like, Mom and Dad, I'm gonna kind of disappoint you guys right now and tell you that I need to take a break from school. Like I need to take a semester off and figure out what I want, because I don't want to like waste anybody's money, you know? And they were like, you can't do that. Everyone says they're gonna take a semester off and then they never go back and blah, blah, blah. And I took the semester off and I had a random job, whatever. And all of a sudden I heard that one of my cousins was going to a trade school. I don't know if you guys have ever heard, because no one's ever heard of with Toby Coburn. Anybody? Yeah, my cousin. Yes? Holy cow. Everyone's heard of like Catherine Gibbs and stuff like that, but like with Toby Coburn, they're like, with Toby what? So
it's expensive, right?
Expensive? Because it's a short period of time. So it is expensive. My mom tells me she's still paying for it now. I'm not. I don't
I had two friends that went there, but yeah, they said it was expensive.
So I decided to go there, and I studied fashion, merchandising, marketing, and management, which was like a total 180 from, you know, from science, pre-med and stuff. My parents were like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, how does that even make sense? And I'm like, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. So I went to school, I did the program, I got an internship. They loved me at my internship. As soon as I finished my internship, they scooped me up and hired me part-time because I was still in school. And I stayed there until I graduated. Then they've hired me full-time. So here I am, like one of the lucky students that graduated with a job, because everyone else was trying to get jobs. I had my job. I was literally with this company for almost 12 years, right? And, you know, in the beginning it was great, you know, I was making lots of money, you know, it just kept growing and growing. I'm like, holy cow, I'm really young, I'm making all this money. Like, I have a pretty cool job, I'm in the fashion industry, like, I work with a designer, you know, like, I go to fashion shows, like, I go to freaking parties, after parties, like, I was living a really cool and young, you know, I was like, oh my god, this is great. But I started to really, like, I kind of hit the top. I couldn't really go any further up, and unless my boss got kicked out, but she wasn't going anywhere, so it was like kind of starting to feel miserable and like contained in my job, and I wasn't growing. But at this point now, fast forward, I'm getting married, you know, we have a mortgage, so I'm like, I can't leave now. Like, what if I go somewhere else and then I don't like it there and then I'm screwed? So let me stay, because we have a wedding to pay for. And then we got married, and it's like, okay, I can't leave now because I have a mortgage to pay, so we can't leave now, I can't leave now. And then I get pregnant, it's like, I can't leave now because I have health insurance, and I have my son, and I have my mortgage, my car payments, I can't leave. And then it's like, fast forward, I have my second child, I'm like, now I really can't leave. But I was like miserable, like I was literally, I would go there, do my job, but I wasn't doing like, you know, any extra work. I would just go, clock in, and that's what made me think of you, because you're like, I hate this place. Like, I literally hated it with all my being, just being there, just ugh. And I always used to kid around like that, because they were going through some financial struggles, and I was like, guys, if anyone gets fired here, it's gonna be me, because I make the most money. And they're like, oh, shut up, they won't let you go, because you're family. And I'm like, yeah. One day on a Friday, at like 4:45, my phone rings, it says HR, and I'm like, guys, I'm getting fired right now. And they're like, shut up. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. But I was kidding. But I was like, maybe it's true. So I pick up and they're like, can you come down? I'm like, okay. I'm like, guys, I'm seriously getting fired right now. So that's what happened. After almost 12 years of working for this company and being family, you know, and helping them grow their business, literally grow their business, because when I started, like it was like this, and then it was like this when I left. And so much that I was so much of their family that they let me go with no severance. Okay, I find out that it's not, you know, it's not illegal. I thought it was, are you kidding me? Like, that's illegal to not give me severance. No, it's not. They can give it to you if they want. And when I asked for it, they were like, you know what, you're right. We'll give you 2 weeks pay. I was like, wow, thanks, really? That's so sweet of you. But, so, and then that year was just kind of like boom, 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 boom. Literally 2 days later, my husband's father passes away. And then I was like, okay, we're gonna go to DR. We spent some time there. I came back. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this time right now to be with my kids. It was in January. I'm like, let me just be with my kids. Then summer came around. I'm like, it's summertime. Let me just keep hanging with my kids. My husband's like, you need to get a job. You need to get a job. And I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out with my kids for a little bit. So the moral of this story is, you know, I was working at a company that I thought, you know, cared about me. And to them, I was just another employee, apparently. And, you know, when the going got tough, they let me go, which really sucks. And, you know, I was there because I felt like I was stuck. I was stuck. I couldn't leave because I needed that money. I needed that security. And God was like, no, 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 you don't need that. Like, you're going to figure this out, you know? And thank God I was fat. Right before I got laid off, because I was introduced to a Beachbody program, because I saw Audrey, who's my cousin, and I was like, what did you do? You look freaking amazing. And she introduced me. I was like, all right, sign me up. And then I got laid off, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I probably should sign up as a coach for the discount, since I'm not really making any money right now. So for me, it started off as a discount. But yeah, God wraps things up in a totally different package, you know? Like, my whole time there, I was like, I can't leave, even though I was miserable. And he was like, okay, you don't want to leave? I'm going to make you leave, and you're going to figure this out. So, you know, rewind to me never wanting to disappoint my parents and stuff like that. Like, here I am, you know, saying I want to be a doctor, going left, studying fashion, and then, like, being at this company, and they're all like, Cindy makes a lot of money, Cindy's great, Cindy's our best child, and I'm like, yes, I am. And then all of a sudden I get knocked down, and I'm like, I'm gonna do Beachbody. And now I have this other struggle where it's like my whole family's like watching me. They're like, oh, she's gonna fail. Like, she's gonna fail. Like, how crazy is this girl that she thinks that she's gonna build something from this and make some money when she was making all this money up here, like actually having a job, and now she's home with the kids. Like, how is she making money? So that was when I was sitting there, I'm like, holy cow, like, that's my why. Like, Audrey's always like, what's your why? Like, what makes you push? And I'm like, because I want to be with my kids. But it just hit me now that I have to prove people wrong. Like, I have to prove a lot of people wrong. And although my husband has my back and he's my biggest supporter, but I have to prove him wrong too. Like, because he's like, are you sure this is going to work? Like, how much longer do you need? Like, what? I need to just be like, we're going to Disney World, and I'm paying for it in cash. You know what I mean? Like, my son is going to be freaking famous, and I need to pay for his, you know, like his, what is that, manager, and his classes and stuff like that. My daughter is a character and a half. She's probably going to be a dancer or something like that. I need to find the money for this stuff. And I don't want to be like, oh, I have to depend on my husband. That's not me. I spent years making lots of money and not having to ask anyone for anything for me to have to, like, you know, like come back and be like, babe, can you give me money? No, that's not. I need to prove to people that this is going to work and I'm going to make it happen. And that is my why. and I'm throwing it out there for you guys so that, you know, like, you guys all know, you guys can keep me accountable. When you see me, you'll be like, do you have money to put Marco in dance class? Ask me that question, because that's, seriously, my kids, when I was working, I couldn't imagine myself being home with my kids. I was like, that's crazy. And now that I'm home with my kids, I'm like, I can't imagine going back and having to work for someone else.
I'll cry, I'll laugh at all the stories, but then I'm like, oh. But in order for me to tell you a little bit about the finances and everything like that, I do have to give you a little bit of my background. So bear with me here. I grew up in the South Bronx, in Section 8 housing and welfare. And I grew up in a life of not having enough. That's just what my life was like. No, we don't have enough of that. No, we don't have enough of that. Everything was, you know, we were the not-haves. Like, that was just life. So growing up, I just always had this, I want more of whatever. Like, I want more of life. And my dad told me, go to school. So, I fast forward, I decided to go to private school because I wanted to be with people who had stuff. I thought to myself, people who can pay for private school must be able to, like, be awesome people, right? Because the people I was hanging out with in my mind were not. So I busted my butt senior year of high school to get all of the scholarships I could get. And then freshman year was fully paid for. But it wasn't a school scholarship, it was a not-for-profit scholarship, so they started dwindling down. So by sophomore year, I was taking student loans. And then by junior year, it was like all student loans, and the school, Pace University, told me, in order for you to sleep in these dorms, you have to give us $5,000. And I was like, that's so much money. And I asked my dad for it, and he was like, all right, I have some money saved up. I'll give you $5,000. So he went to the bank on 149th Street, and he took out $5,000. He walked out, and he was robbed. And he walked back in, took out $5,000 again, and gave it to me. And he was like, I believe in you, do it. So I had no idea what I was gonna major in. None. Like, Sharice and I picked the major because it looked fun. And I was like, but I gotta go to school because he told me to, and he believed in me. So I went to school, I busted my butt. I would go out to party, and then I'd come back and study. Like, I was like, I gotta have the full college experience. So when I graduated college, like 6 months later, I landed in an amazing job. I was making more money than any 22-year-old I knew. And I was just going, and it was just amazing. So I thought to myself, if I'm making this much money with an undergraduate degree, how much money am I gonna make with a master's? So I went back and I got my master's, all on financial aid, entirely on financial aid. I was like reckless with my money. Like, I went out dancing every single night. I ate every meal out of the house. I didn't know what to do with money because no one ever raised me to learn about it. That was not anything we ever talked about. So I didn't have a savings, nothing like that. I graduated my master's in 2009. That same year, I was laid off from my amazing job. So I was like, crap, now I'm on unemployment. I am exactly where I started. Like, I was like, this freaking sucks. So that's where I figured out fitness to be a moneymaker. I started teaching classes, and I started personal training, and I was hustling like crazy. And then 2013, Sharice approaches me. Well, I approached her about her transformation. Then we go through the program, I become a Beachbody coach. And I was like, finally I got in a job that I was making like half of what I was making back in 2009, but I accepted it. And my start date as a real coach was not until February 2014. So October 2013, I became a coach. February 2014, I was like, I gotta work this business. Because I started seeing people making money. And I started actually like listening to things. I was like, oh shoot, this girl's a six-figure earner. And let me tell you, I've always done Beachbody programs. And I saw Lindsay Matway on a video on YouTube. And I was like, huh, the hell is she doing? Because I had no idea who she was, and I was like, who's this blonde girl? Like, she's... And that year, she was top coach, the year I became a coach. I was like, who is this girl? So I started following her and learning all of the things that they were doing, and I told myself, if this business does anything for me, it's gonna help me pay my student loans. I had in 2014, $80,000 in student loans because I was chasing this dream of like, go to school, make money, go to school, make money. Last year in 2014, I paid down $18,000 entirely from Beachbody. And the way that happened was one, I worked my business like crazy, but that didn't happen until Melissa, Audrey, Dalisa, everybody told me, you need to go to First Steps to Success by Danny Johnson. That woman finally taught me finances. I'm 31 years old, and I finally learned how to sit down and look at what I was spending money on, and realizing like, I can do this. Like, I can make this work financially for me. So, I'm not where I want to be in my business, but I can tell you that one of the things I've done, and I am like Cindy, shiny objects are amazing, and they really are. Like, I'm like, ooh, green shoes. Like, let's talk about that. Like, to me, I lose it really quick. So I need to have a schedule. And on my schedule, I have everything from working out to doing my personal development, inviting people. I invite about 50 people a day. I don't even know who those people are. Sometimes I gotta go look at their Facebook and be like, how did we become friends? Oh, let me figure out a way to talk to this person. But I do it. I have a book that has all these names of people. From Instagram, from Facebook, from the street. Like, I'm like, who is this person? And I just go down the list. And it sounds crazy, right? Because you're just like, this is bizarre. Like, why am I writing all these names? Why am I inviting these people cold? But when you are consistently posting on your social media, and you're doing the inspirational stuff, and you're doing the workouts, and you're doing the healthy posts, and you're talking about coaching, you're throwing it out there, right? You don't realize that people already know you from that. They already know you. They may not reach out to you ever, but as soon as you reach out to them, they're like, oh my God, thank you for posting that the other day, it really helped. So never think that the work you're doing is not being seen and that you don't have a reason to reach out to someone. Because you do. You have a great opportunity for them, and you know, each and every one of us know that those products work. Like, there's not one person here that has not done a program and gotten results. When I started my challenge group, my first challenge group with Cherise, I was the most skeptical person in the world. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, shh, I'm gonna eat my pizza, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm not drinking Shakeology after 30 days. Like, I was that person. And as it started like happening, I was like, oh shoot, I can't stop drinking Shakeology. This is awesome. Believe that there's more people just like you. Believe that you can make that kind of income that the Anita Myrons and the Lindsay Matways and everybody else makes, because you can. And you need to have a schedule. I am an independent contractor, so my schedule fluctuates all the time based on wherever my boss needs me to be. I'm an independent contractor to a specific company. So I wake up at 4:45 every single day, and it sucks. I hate it. I'm not a morning person, I've discovered. But I get up, I meditate, I tell myself you can do this, and then I started, like, the first thing I do is personal development, and then after the PD, I'm pumped, I just invite. And then I leave it alone, go about my day, and at night, people reply to me. They may reply, no thank you, they may reply later, they may reply, what are you talking about? But there goes the conversation, you know? I mean, sometimes at 5 a.m. you're sending really crazy messages to people. people, but we tried, right? And that's all I did to be able to pay off my student loans. My goal this year is to double the $18,000. So I'm going to pay $36,000 in the student loans, and by year 3, it's going to be fully paid for. And I have 100% belief that it's going to be Beachbody is going to be able to pay for it, because my income at my job, it's not horrible, but it pays for everything else I got to do. It pays for the mortgage, it pays for living, it pays for food. So I was never going to pay that loan down. I was paying, before Danny Johnson, I was paying just $200 on the loan. That was never going to pay it down. That's just paying interest. That's just holding it off. But this business has helped me see that like this supplemental income, it's not a joke. It's like real money. And if you just put some time into it, 2 hours, that's all you need to start. 2 hours a day. It can really make a big impact in your life. Not just financially, but like monetarily, turns into your life's purpose. It helps feed your family. It helps do all of those things. So I don't want to take very long, but I do want to highly encourage all of you to make whatever is in Asana or whatever it might be, make that list of things you need to do. If you need to know what those things are, ask your upline. What are those things? Obviously, working out is one of them, Shakeology is one of them, PD is one of them, inviting is one of them. The rest of it is just cool stuff you can do for your business. But there's just like 4 things you need to do every single day. And I think that's all I wanted to talk about. However, I did want to introduce somebody else who's going to speak. So part of my personal goal is to, and as is everybody else's, help people become their best selves, right? Become fitter, stronger, inside and out. So the person who's going to speak next is Jennifer Welsh. Some of you saw her at Super Saturday. She's had an awesome transformation. And I just want you guys to see that like financially this benefits us this way. And then in turn, you help someone else. So take it away, Jen.
So I had a small little piece of paper just to help me to remember what it is that I wanted to talk to you about today. Because one of the things, like, it's kind of amazing really to kind of look at that a little bit, because you know when you have goals and you want to achieve something and it doesn't matter how far you get closer to it, you still feel like you're so far behind. I was really glad that I took that first picture, because I've been up and down with my weight for many years, ever since I was very young. And I've never taken a before picture. And so whenever people would say, oh, you look great, or you made some progress, I wouldn't be able to see it in the mirror myself, because when you're shrinking, you see yourself every day, so you don't see yourself shrinking. You have nothing to compare it to. And I realized that in taking that before picture, now I can compare it to something. But my fitness journey, even though it started officially, in a sense, a fitness journey, I've been trying to lose weight all my life, ever since I was very young. Just to give you a little bit of background, and I'll try not to, I know there's a lot of stories and things, and we talk about our whys and things of that nature, and similar to Cindy, my why is sort of like, it's always dashing. I feel like I got it, and then it's like, no, that's not it, and then I got it, and no, that's not it. So I kind of feel like it's a bit around, and it's still being defined. But I come from, similarly born and raised in the Bronx. I'm from immigrant parents. My parents came here from Jamaica via England to the United States. My parents didn't even go finish high school. They came here and they worked their butts off to make a life for me and my sister's life for themselves. And because they worked so hard, they had to kind of do some things to like make themselves available to their employers. So I was put in the care of some people who didn't really treat me that nicely. You know, without, you know, kind of going into too much detail, I was sexually abused. And I think that what ended up happening to me with that is that I internalized a lot of it. And when I did try to express it, it came out in anger. And if you can see me, I'm a very happy person naturally a sapphire. And so it was really hard for me to express myself in a way that was going to be helpful to me. And one of the things about my parents working so much is that my father, when he used to pick us up, which was very rare, we would never hardly, you know, see him when he used to pick us up, he used to always take us to a fast food place. Or do you remember the Wonder Breads? Like the Wonder Bread, you go in there and they had like all the bread and they had like all the sweets and the Twinkies and stuff. And he used to take us there afterwards. And so I always associated my father's love and my happiness with my family with eating, you know? Again, my parents were sort of the matriarch and patriarch of a much larger family and would always have Thanksgiving dinners and things like that at their house. So I was associated food with happiness. So growing up, you know, I eventually told my parents about the sexual abuse and sort of the verbal abuse as well. When I was 25, it's a long time to hold that in from the people who you love the most. And when I did, you know, my mom said she didn't know and she was sorry for it. And it wasn't her fault either. You know, she trusted people. She trusted my family. They were my family, you know, but because I was the youngest, my two older sisters, I'm 5 and 6 years removed from them. So I was in kindergarten still. So I'm a little one. I'm only 5 or 6 years old when this is happening. And my sisters are in elementary school. So it's hours before anybody comes home. So growing up, I was able to kind of do some work on my own and figure out, you know, how to maybe, you know, express myself a little bit in a better way. So I tried to really like be happy and make people happy. And so like that fake it till you make it, like be happy, you know, try to overcome this. But one of the things that I still like is to eat. I love food. I love the taste of it. I love the feeling that I get from it. Sugar is very addictive. And when you get away from it, you're like, oh my God, I have a headache. It's really addictive. So I was up and down with weight all my life. And I've always tried to, you know, also be a good kid. You know, I was the youngest, you know, my oldest was, you know, she was real frugal, very tight. The middle one was kind of like a little bit crazy, you know, and she was always kind of looked at like the black sheep, or at least that's what she felt, even though nobody ever saw her that way. But I was always the one who was happy. And so up and down with weight all my life, tried to travel and enrich myself because I always wanted to be successful. I started out in pre-law, totally not for me. I'm so creative, I don't even know why I thought that that was possible. And went to school, went to bed one night as a pre-law student, woke up the next day and was like, I can't do this. And became an English major because I always wrote as a child. I always used to journal. I think my first story was in 3rd grade. I was writing romances. I was writing with my friends. I was writing, oh, they like this boy and they got together, and I still have them. And I didn't really make the connection that I love to write, you know, until later. So when I became an English major, I did. So let me fast forward this story just a little bit more. I go to school, I go to undergraduate school, eventually I go to graduate school, I travel the world, I feel like I'm enriching myself because I'm eventually gonna find a husband, have kids, settle down. That doesn't happen. I did meet someone, I got engaged 3 months before a wedding that was planned, and a wedding that was planned 3 months before, he decided that he didn't want to get married. So these were like between 28 and 32, around that year. I'm kind of like telling you guys all this story because so many things happen to us, and if we don't face them, they really do sit within you, and they come out in a different way, whether it's anger, whether it's eating, weight that we carry. If we don't deal with it, it will definitely come back to haunt you. So I had gotten into, I was in education for a while, and then I got into corporate America and wanted to, I got into corporate America specifically to fund my wedding. And I got into it not really loving it. eventually I realized that that's not where I was supposed to be, and had a mutual. A lot of people, some people say I was laid off, but I wasn't kind of laid off because it was sort of like my choice to leave the company because I wanted to pursue my dreams of being a writer, and I wanted to pursue my dreams of, being financially independent. So, in leaving my job, my schedule changed, and I ended up eating a lot whilst being sedentary. So I gained the weight, most of the weight that you see there. Cut to holiday 2013, the holidays. We love to eat, we come to the house, we enjoy. I gained 20 pounds in the holidays by themselves, which is amazing for anybody. Like, you have to work hard to do that. You have to work hard. And I was like, wow, I feel like I'm, and I wasn't exercising. I used to do a little bit at least, I've known Beachbody too. I've done Slim and 6, remember the up and down? I can tell you I've done Slim and 6, remember Slim and 6? And I also did Turbo Jam. Love Shalene, love all the music, love the way she puts it together, but I kept going up and down. There was something that was missing. So when I gained that weight, I went to New Year's Eve, New Year's coming in, and I'm like, yep, doing it all again. Lose weight, publish my book, the list goes on. I'm at a New Year's Eve party. And I asked my friend, and I said, what's your New Year's resolution? She's like, I just want to be better. And I was like, that's it? I was like, nothing else? She's like, yeah, I just want to be better. She's like, that's a lot. I just want to be better than I was before. And I was like, wow. So then, in the beginning of 2014, one night I saw a T25 commercial. And I said, well, if I'm gonna do this and get on the ball, I need to be able to do something that's gonna be a little bit painful, that's gonna hurt, right? Something's gonna kick my booty. And I ordered a T25, just like that. I ordered the whole, I didn't think I ordered a challenge pack, but I did order it where I got a little bit of Shakeology. So I said, I'm gonna do it exactly as it is. There's nothing that I'm gonna change. And so I started doing that program and doing the Shakeology. But the biggest thing about it, and this is the key piece for me, was I decided I was gonna blog about it. I'm gonna blog about it all. Being overweight, the holidays, everything, put it out there. If you wanna go see it, go to www.lyricalsphere.wordpress.com and you'll see the whole story of that year. Because I needed to be accountable because that was the piece that was missing. Nobody ever held me accountable, it was just me saying that I wanted to lose weight. So I did T25, I lost 30.5 pounds on that program. 30.5 pounds. I was like super successful. I was feeling really good and stuff, and I was like, wow, I got this, we feel good. And I did some of the other programs. Then Melissa kind of came into my life, my coach, my wonderful and very inspirational coach came into my life at a time when I knew that I wanted to do something that was going to help me build some financial independence. Now, I don't have everything set yet. I'm not a perfect anything. I'm not a perfect challenger. I'm not a perfect coach. I'm not a perfect health fitness person. I don't have it all figured out. I go up and down, but now I kind of stay within this sort of area because people are watching me. I'm accountable to somebody. And that is so super important when you're accountable to somebody that they hold you to it. Melissa always says, she said, I can't believe that you did the ultimate reset. And I said, yeah, that was a tough program. I was hurt. It was painful. Like, because we were in the kitchen the whole time. My first video, I looked depressed and sad and sullen. And she was like, you look it's so depressing. And I said, yeah, because it's the truth. But then if you look at the videos as they come along, I'm like, maybe I'll go vegan, So I just wanted to let you guys know that, this journey took a long time to get to. And I didn't get it right the first couple times that I did it. And I'm trying to get it better now. And I know that this is kind of going a little bit long, so I'm so sorry. But I just wanted to share that story with you guys because accountability, you're coaches and you do a challenge group, those challengers, they need that accountability. They need you to call them and say, where are you? What are you doing? You know, they don't want it. I mean, trust me, sometimes I don't want it. Melissa Cole, she's like, how you doing? And I'm like, great, you know? Meanwhile, I know that I had like a petite E. coli. Do anybody know those little chocolate covered butter biscuits? Yeah, they still get me every once in a while. I'm honest about it, but I divulge because, you know, if I don't tell the truth, I'm never gonna fix the problems. And normally it has something to do with emotional highs and lows. So I'm working through it. And I'm really happy that Beachbody came into my life when it did. It's always been there, and now it's like all right here in the forefront. And I'm so glad with all the people that I've met during this journey, because when you take chances, that's when you meet amazing people and amazing things happen in your life. And if I could tell you all the things that I feel like I'm a failure at, I can tell you just as many reasons of why I think that I've been successful. So that's life, right? You have your failures and successes, and all you have to do is continue to work through them. So, and that's my transformation.
Did you guys love it?
Yes.
Did you get a lot out of it? Yes. Are you gonna go home and you're no fear?
No.
Perfect. So basically, we hope that you got a lot of today. We hope we gave you little tips and tricks and little, you know, we enlighten your evening that you spend with us. If you have any questions, just bombard the page. We'll be more than happy to, you know, answer them and help you in any way possible. So that concludes basically our training. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.